What's up, everybody? It's your boy, and I'm exhausted, but I want to give you an update. And man, this is going to help you guys. If you ever build one of these, this is going to drastically help you do this, because the learning curve for somebody that's never done anything like this before is ridiculous. So let me show you some stuff. You're probably like, holy mackerel, this dude's like got some stuff like getting ready to be done with this. No, not necessarily. So one of the last videos I mentioned, let me pull this over here. One of the last videos I mentioned I was putting these lights on. And as you can see, I had to order another pack and they are all on there. You can kind of see I just glued them as close to the outline as possible. I still haven't cut the holes out for the eyes because I'm not sure when I'm gonna do that. But, and again, I might adjust these a little bit in case they're too close to the eye, because obviously you don't want the light, the LEDs to be on the black part. So I might still adjust them a little bit, but I just want to get them close just so I made sure I had enough light. The back of this, looks like a mess. So I allowed some overlap. They're not touching, obviously. Not even concerned with it right now, because when I get into wiring it, all these wires are gonna be tucked inside. I'll figure out how I'm gonna do it. Either I might adhere them on the inside nice and tight with glue gun or some kind of adhesive so they're all packed in there nice and tight. Not really concerned with that right now. When I get to that, I'll record it and show you. So that just took some time and patience. And actually, I mentioned there's 29 rows. I mean, literally, if you stack them with pretty much no gap, like you just need to just make it even all the way around. It will fit 29 rows. And it is almost, it's almost a full 5 rolls of the LEDs that are in the description. Almost a full 5 rolls. Literally, I was oh man, I'm about to run out. So that worked there. The paints, depending on how you've been watching this, I added a new video because this is ridiculous. So you probably saw the video where I said don't use acrylic-based paint for your white because it's not translucent. You can't see through it. And so that was a learning curve that now you don't have to realize or go through. That was a pain. I'll give you the full spectrum of what I've experienced here. Quite frustrating to say the least, but hey, it's part of the process to learn how to do something. You get to learn from all my extra work that I had to do. Sanded it all down, got that super, like 99 cents a can. I think I put a link in the description from the local hardware store where I got it from. Depending on where you are, obviously they ship. So, depending on where you are, if you wanted to get that exact there, or if you have a similar hardware store, that's what I used. It goes on so light, like really light. There's pretty much a whole can on this. And let me tell you what I had to deal with. Sand it all down. I'm spraying this thing, and it was so light when I thought, again, there's learning experience. I thought after I put a solid, now you have to go really light. You don't want it to like drip or do anything like that. It'll mess everything up. And this stuff dries pretty quick. So like after like 5 or not even 5 minutes, you can just spray in a really, really, really light coat. So it's nice and even. And so me being just anxious. So one night it dried and I had a little 10 minutes of free time. So I put this under my sink. My kitchen sink's kind of big. Laid some towels under it, so it was all padded. And I got some 1000 grit, which the link's in the description below. 1000 grit, really, really, really fine sandpaper, and I was gonna like smooth out the little bit of the rough spots that were on the paint. Don't do that. It's so fine, and the coats are gonna go on so fine. I guess I could have put more coats on it, but it was unnecessary. And what I did, which was a pain, and I wish I would have done it, but it's learning experience, is right around the eyes. I was just trying to make sure it was all nice and smooth. And I even though it's going really, really, really light, the paint, it's so thin, which you need for the light to be able to come through if this is for LEDs. And then I cut through too much, and I was like, oh man, then I have to go back and spray. So guess what? So I went back and sprayed a little bit more, and it didn't look very good. And so because I let too much time elapse, and I started sanding. Now I had a low spot in the paint, and when I went over to cover it, I couldn't really get rid of that low spot. And then you're gonna be like, oh my God. So then I'm painting this thing outside, and the stand I had this thing on, I guess I wasn't paying attention while I was drying. Maybe I was sucking in too many fumes, even though I had a mask on. The stand tipped over, and the bottom ring busted out. Like, I guess it hit pretty hard. Luckily, this thing didn't crack because it was outside and landed on mostly grass. So then I had to reattach the bottom ring, which didn't mirror up perfectly. And it's just a big stress point. So, I got it all taped. It's not, I got all re-glued up, and it turned out, halfway decent, I should say. But not what I was expecting. But note to self, whenever you're painting this, either hang it on something, which would be ideal. I just didn't have any space to hang it. But make sure and then just go to town and give yourself probably a solid hour to keep putting really light layers of that white on there, because I don't think you're gonna have any like spots where it's gonna like not look good. And then just hold it up to the sun, give it, I think after about 15 minutes you can handle it for the most part. Just don't put your hands on the outside, maybe hold it from inside. And then if you're like, oh, it's a little light right there, and then go back and put a little bit more on. And then what I did is I let it dry all night, 24 hours, let it dry all night, and then I put a whole can. All right, so this link's in the description. This is acrylic, which is good because you want something hard, but this is acrylic clear. A whole can is on this thing. If you wanted to, I'm fine with this gloss. I know I mentioned in the first video, I was like, I want that showroom shine. You're gonna need 2 cans. And you're just gonna have to keep putting coat after coat after coat after coat after coat, really light so it's nice and smooth. I put half the can on, which I couldn't even tell you how many coats it was. I was just going really, really, really light. I didn't want any drip marks. I was holding it like 8 to 10 inches away, and I just had like front, side, side, side. I was going left to right, left to right, left to right, and then I did that 4 times around, and I was going up and down all the way around. So it was nice covered, and I kind of did this, and then I kind of did an overlay on the top, and this was elevated so I can get the bottom. So I did half the can. Then I got 1,000 grit sandpaper. Went really, really, really light. I wasn't like really working it down just to get it smooth. And then I used the other half can today. And after I let it sit for like an hour, I went back with 1,000 grit and smoothed that out. And it's actually pretty smooth. It's got a nice smooth finish to it. It's got a nice little sheen to it. And then I went and used some carb polish and polished it down. I was gonna get a rubbing compound that is for automobiles, but I'm just gonna run out of time. There's this paint debacle thing kind of messed me up, and I'm a little bit behind. So what I would strongly suggest though is I would use a whole can of white. I think a whole can is gonna be about right. We're not gonna deal with all the extra stuff I dealt with. Don't sand it. Don't sand the white at all. Just unless you have like a little nick, then you can use that 1000 grit, just kind of lightly, just kind of, you know, rub it to where it gets smooth. But make sure that dries. Give it 24 hours just to really set, and then go back and start doing clear. And if you want to do 2 cans, if you're a little worried about, 2 cans. Do 1 can and let it, you know, give it. I think it says, I think what I did. What did it say? 15 minutes between coats. Yeah, 15 minutes between coats. You can put another coat on, and you can. Yeah, that's what I would do. So every 15 minutes, go back, give it a chance to dry. Keep putting on. Coats, go through a whole can, so it's going to take you, it's going to take you a couple hours. So you got to have something else to do, and then come back, do another coat. And once you got that first can on there, let it sit overnight. The next day, wet sand it. When I say 1000 grit, you don't need 800 grit. I think I have that in the link, but you just use the 1000. Get it nice and sheen, like now to a sheen. You're just going to rub it until when you feel it, it feels smooth. It doesn't feel like, you can't really feel like the grittiness, if that makes sense. Then go back and knock out another whole can, and this will it'll have even more of a gloss shine to it, but I'm happy with this. And I'm wearing it at night. I'm not wearing this during the day, during a festival or any crazy stuff like that. But if I was wearing it during the day, then I go that route. Now, and then you're gonna get this, and then to really get it to pop, and this got a nice sheen to it. But then you could use, after you do the 1000 grit, then you can do rubbing compound, which is you can use with a rag, and you just rub it on there, and it gets it down even more. Rub that off and do like a car polish, not a wax. Car polish, which is really fine, and that'll give you a nice, even more of a sheen than what you got here. So that's the whole paint debacle I had to deal with. That now you don't, because now you know. The other thing was and you're probably like, how do you get the tint in there? So that plastic piece in the very first video, the link's in the description. It's like 12 by, I think it's 3 or 4 feet. Plastic's like flimsy, not too flimsy, but like a plastic sheet. I've already used it, so I can't hold it up. And so I took that. I've never used tint on a car before, ever. Then I took, and 20% I think is about right. 20%. So the link is in the description to this. Crazy cheap. I'm like, I need to start doing tint on my own cars myself. 20%, as you can see, 20%. Links in the description. Gilia or whatever is the brand. I don't think it really matters. Now I bet there's types of these to where if you do get bubbles, they have an air release, and it's like a really fine like air release, so you can get the bubbles out pretty easily. But I didn't want to spend any extra money on that. This one's fine. How do you do this? And so what you do is you take that plastic sheet. It's going to have like a plastic protective film on both sides to protect it from getting scratched. You need a nice flat surface. Got to have a flat surface. I can't stress that enough. I did 2. Actually, I got it right here. So this, and I could easily redo it. Yeah, this is what the plastic piece looks like. This has got all kinds of dust and everything on it. So this is the plastic piece, as you can see. Still got the sticker on this side. And so what you would do is take the plastic covering off the plastic sheet. Make sure that's like super clean. Then take like a microfiber towel. You just don't want to have any kind of dust or anything on there. Then you get your roll of tint. It comes in a roll, and then you just lay it over it, measure it, cut it out. You don't need to do, you can see I just did a big sheet here, and I'll show you in the next video what I'm gonna do. And then you gotta get 2 pieces of tape. I never knew this is how it worked. And you take the tape, and you just go to the corner of this, and you put a piece of tape on one side, and it says in the directions, but I'm just gonna explain it. You put a piece of tape on one side, a piece of tape on the other side, and you don't stick them together. They're just on either sides of the corner of the tint. You kind of pop it, and there's this really, I couldn't even see it. I didn't even know it was on there. There's really fine protective covering on the tint. Because I always wonder how they get the tint on there, on the car. And so you lay it over it, measure all out. You might even want to tape down the edges, and then you take this 2 pieces of the tape on either side, pop it, so it'll free that protective covering. Slowly peel that off. Then take like soapy water. It could be like Dawn or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's really light soapy water. I use like a spray, it's a little spray, just a plastic spray bottle. Sprayed the plastic piece, and then I sprayed the kind of the sticky part of the tint. So when you pull that protective film off, the tint's got a little stickiness to it. And then you want to saturate the sticky part with the soapy water. So now you got soapy water on the plastic piece, you got soapy water on the tint. So now your plastic piece is, on a table or somewhere. Then just kind of lay it over nice and gently. What I do is I have it bowed up like this, center it, and then I kind of flatten it out so you don't have any bubbles. And then you can use a credit card. You just need something where you can that's like a flat surface, very important. Wrap it in a towel, something that's got a little, give to it. Maybe put 2 credit cards side by side, but a squeegee would be ideal, like the little squeegees they use. A credit card is fine though. Something like that. And take your towel and kind of like wrap it around because you don't want to scratch the tint. Start from the middle and work out. Start from the middle and work out. And basically you're going to see the bubbles, the soapy bubbles, the liquid under the tint kind of get pushed out from under it, and it's going to look mostly dry. You're not going to get all the little liquid bubbles out. Maybe you could. But I've never done this before. And so there was little bubbles in there. And then what happens is that kind of dries and dissipates, and then it's smooth. And it looks like this. I just did this just to see how it looked. So it looks like this. Now I'm not going to need this whole piece. I'm not going to need this. As you can see through it. So I just want to see how it looked, just because I was anxious to see how this thing's going to look. If this is not an LED helmet, you literally could take this, slide inside, and then glue gun around. So what I'm going to do is take my piece of paper cutouts from the original template, and I'm just going to go outside of that by like, I don't know, half an inch. So if you got the helmet, I'm basically going to take this outline, and I'm going to go, about half an inch out wider than that. I don't need half an inch. I think I only need probably a 1/4 inch, but I'd rather, start big first. I'm going to cut these out. I'm going to lay them on the inside, make sure it fills the whole void here, because I want to hug this line. I don't want to just cut like a big square piece, or I don't want to just go like a big piece like this, or I don't want to just do like the whole face, because when the LED lights are in there, you don't want them to shine through this and then this, because then you're going to see that you have this thing on the inside. It's going to look lame. So I'm going to do that, and then I think I can just use a hot glue gun and just glue it in there, or maybe crazy glue or something that dries pretty quick, because you're probably going to have to put the glue on the lens, if you will, and then hold it in there and kind of sandwich it until it dries. You don't want something that's going to take 24 hours to dry or something crazy. So that's what I'm doing next with this. I'm going to get that on there. That'll be in the next video. Then I'm going to put what am I going to do? I'm going to get the helmet. I'm going to put it up in the inside. I'm not going to mount it yet, but I'm going to put it up in the inside of the helmet, put the mask on, and make sure the height up and down this way pretty much mirrors Marshmello's helmet. So like how high, obviously you don't want it sitting on your shoulder, and everybody's neck lengths are different or whatever. So you just kind of reference a picture, and then you'll kind of adjust where you want the helmet. And you're probably like, what do you mean adjust the helmet? Well, what I'm probably going to do is the very top of the helmet, I'm going to probably cut off so it's flat. So I'm going to probably cut the top flat, so when it goes up inside, obviously I'm going to cut this off. You don't need this visor. So when it goes up in there, it sticks to the top, and it's flush. It's not rolling around in there. And then that spray foam, is what I'll eventually use. I'm not going to use that until the LEDs are in there. But then I'll be able to say, okay, this is the right height. And then I'll know where my eyes are. And then on this, I can say, okay, my eyes are gonna go there. Cut this out. And then I kind of know, I'm gonna kind of know how low this is gonna sit on my shoulders. And I mean, if I really wanted to, I could put the hat on and then kind of like, you know, maybe look in the mirror or whatever. I can kind of, or have somebody help me, and I can kind of get an idea of how high or low the LED section is going to sit on my head. And then I'm like, okay, that's where I'm making my eyes. And I'll start small, and I'll cut them out until it fits perfect. I'm not obviously cutting out the whole section. There's no need for that, because that's where some of the wires are going to go to wrap around my eyes. And that'll be it. If you got any comments, any suggestions, holy mackerel, I wish somebody would have told me, don't use acrylic, you big dummy, because that would have saved me a ton of time. But any suggestions, please comment, and hopefully this is helping you out. I'm not sure, you know, I've heard people, you know, building their own, and that's exciting. I'm trying to keep these videos pretty relevant, because you know, I don't want you to be waiting on me and be like, well, let me see if this guy, you know, screws up and tells me not to do that. So I hope to have this thing done in the next couple of weeks. I have a feeling I know wiring these LEDs is going to be, it's going to take a minute. So yeah, hopefully that's good, and we'll talk to you next time.